So I've been very excited to present this Shakespeare play on my Shakespeare Island because it is my third favorite Shakespeare play, The Tempest. Now, the biggest thing that is missing is I do not yet have the Shakespeare villager. I desperately want Miranda. I call her the duck that was promised. Miranda is a snooty duck, and I want her to be my villager to represent the Tempest. The anteater Antonio is also a character in the play, but he's Prospero's nasty brother, and I really want Miranda, who is Prospero's daughter. So I have tried to get her on several villager hunts, but I have failed so far. So this is currently Cephalobot's home. But as soon as I am able to procure Miranda, this will be her home, and I will use my Happy Home Paradise to decorate it appropriately for the Tempest. But even without Miranda, I want to give you a tour of my Tempest items. So we'll begin over here with the shipwreck portion of the play. At the very beginning, I have the ship in the bottle to represent the ship that Prospero and Ariel use their magic to make the Tempest, and the ship quote unquote wrecks, and you think that maybe everyone on it is dead, but they've actually all survived. So I have several pirate-themed items with the helm and the anchor here, as well as these barrels, and I have seaweed on top of this box in order to indicate the whole ship being underwater. I have a couple of the double-edged swords here to represent the swords that many of the party have in the play. I'll go over here to Miranda's quote, and again, as soon as we have Miranda, I will give her catchphrase and whatever the other thing is called. They get a catchphrase and a greeting. I will make those Shakespeare quotes from The Tempest that Miranda says. But here's Miranda's quote that I have on the placards here. "Your tale, sir, would cure deafness." And this is what she says to her father, Prospero, when Prospero is telling her about how they came to the island, how he lost his dukedom because of his brother and some other conspirators. And it is actually the people on the ship who are responsible for their exile. Going back here again, let's take a look at the items that represent Prospero. So we have Prospero's magic garments, the wizard's outfit and hat, and his books are referred to often in the play, and so I have a pile of books, but you can see in front of the garment the big magic book, and in front of the hat is Prospero's magic staff. Over here with the little devil horns and the fire in front of the devil horns, I've placed that to represent the line, "Hell is empty and all the devils are here." This is something that Ariel says when he is talking about what Ferdinand said during the Tempest. This pine tree, oh hello Cephalobot, this pine tree back here represents the cloven pine tree that Sycorax trapped Ariel in, and Prospero frees Ariel and never lets him forget it, and Ariel has to be Prospero's servant, and Prospero makes Ariel do his bidding, and he would have a hard time putting all this together in the play without Ariel. But he does set Ariel free at the end of the play. Over here, where you can see the pearl and the coral in front of that pearl, these represent the lines, "Of his bones coral are made," and the line, "Those are pearls that were his eyes." These are lines that Ariel sings to Ferdinand, and I believe that this makes Ferdinand believe that his father Alonso is indeed dead. And on the other side of that, if you can see the fish in there, that's a zebra turkey fish, which is one of the stranger looking fish in the game. And that represents the line, "What strange fish hath made his meal on thee?" And this is the king, Alonso, talking about his son, Ferdinand. And this is Alonso indicating that he believes his son, Ferdinand, has been killed. So that whole party, Alonso, Gonzalo, who's a really good guy, Sebastian, and Antonio, there's a lot of strife there. And Antonio is trying to convince Sebastian to kill Alonso because they believe his heir Ferdinand is dead. And so there's a whole lot going on there. The mummy outfit represents the line that Gonzalo says, "You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster being like a bandage." And so a mummy outfit is a bit of overkill, but that is what this mummy outfit represents. The crown here, we certainly have the king with Alonso, but I'm specifically showing the crown to refer to the line, "My strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head." And this is Antonio talking to Sebastian, again hatching that plot to have Sebastian kill Alonso so that Sebastian can take the throne, which harkens back to Antonio getting rid of Prospero and taking over his dukedom. Leave this area and come over to the kind of foolish area where this is going to be comprised of Caliban, Trinculo, and Stefano. And Caliban is the son of Sycorax and is kind of made out to be a bit of a monster in the play. You can end up having quite a bit of empathy for Caliban as well. He definitely has to serve Prospero and does many tasks, kind of beast of burden type tasks. So how the three get together are, after the Tempest, there's still some pretty stormy weather going on, and so Caliban has hidden himself under a cloak, and Trinculo, one of the shipwrecked people, comes to see this cloak on the ground, and he gets under the cloak as well to protect himself from the storm. And when he does that, he says, "Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows." So I have this bed to represent that. Then Stefano joins the party, and some of his alcohol has been spared from the big storm. And so these bottles here are to represent Stefano's alcohol. And he plies Caliban with the alcohol, and Caliban, who has never had alcohol, becomes quite enamored with Stefano as a result. And since Stefano kind of appeared out of nowhere and has this magical alcohol, Caliban is in a bit of awe as to where Stefano could have possibly come from. And Stefano said, "I was the man in the moon when time was." And so that's why I have the moon here to represent Stefano's claim of being the man in the moon. And Caliban believes it. And Caliban is also very tired of being in service to Prospero. So he decides Stefano is going to be his new master and convinces Stefano to try to kill Prospero so that they can be in charge of the island instead of Prospero. So one thing that Stefano says over and over again is "kiss the book," and so I have this book here to represent that book. Now, I was talking about the wood earlier, and there is a specific line that Caliban calls out when referring to Prospero. He says, "I'll bear no more sticks, but follow thee, thou wondrous man." And again, the wondrous man he's referring to is the drunk Stefano. Also over here in this area, I have this drum and this little pipe, and those are to represent there is a stage direction in the play that Ariel plays a tune on a tabor and pipe, and a tabor is a small drum. And he plays those instruments, and the band of Caliban, Trinculo, and Stefano follow him. So that's why I have those items there. Coming back over to this group, a sort of magical spread of food gets placed before the king and his men. And so this cornucopia is to represent that spread that sort of magically appears and then just as magically vanishes. Now, getting a bit later in the play, I'll come back to the bed here because another representation the bed stands for is Prospero saying the famous line, "Here's such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep." And so I thought this bed represented that line nicely. Going back near the pine tree, there is also a gravestone here. And this is to represent the line when Prospero says, "Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oped, and let them forth." So indicating some of this great power that Prospero has, but he plans to give it all up. And in fact, he says that he'll break his staff and he'll drown his book. And as soon as he gets his daughter and the royal Ferdinand together, he will leave aside his magical ways. So very late in the play, when Prospero finally lets everyone know that everyone else is alive and Alonso gets to see his son Ferdinand, Prospero reveals Ferdinand and Miranda playing chess. And they have fallen madly in love, and it's a touching scene with them playing chess together, and the father learning that his son is still alive. So the globe that I have here represents another of Miranda's lines when she says, "Oh, brave new world that has such people in it." And so I thought this globe represented the world nicely. And then at the very end of the play, there is a short epilogue by Prospero, and within it he says, "But release me from my bands with the help of your good hands." And he's indicating that the help of your good hands is the audience applauding. So we'll give Prospero a hand. So that is what I have so far for The Tempest. I'm pretty excited about the items that I have collected, but if you have any other suggestions for items that would fit my Tempest theme, please give me a comment because I really love this play and I look forward to getting Miranda. I will definitely make a video the next time that I'm hunting for her, and hopefully sometime in the near future I will succeed in getting the duck who was promised. But until then, thank you so much for watching.